6 strangers are brought here to participate in a Mr. Beast-like challenge. They are excited at first because of the big prize money, unaware that only the winner will get out alive. The story begins with a man trapped inside an old-fashioned room. He faces a maze-like puzzle that requires a 4-digit code to unlock. One of the walls starts moving toward him, making the room smaller every second. He panics and begins looking for clues. He notices a book that is different from the others, but can't reach it. He examines all the paintings and tries a bunch of combinations that don't work. The room has now turned into a box, and he panics even more, screaming that there is no way out as the wall crushes his leg. 3 days earlier, a girl named Zoe is in her classroom. The professor asks the students about the quantum Zeno effect. Even though she knows the answer, she is too introverted to speak up. After the bell, the professor calls Zoe to talk to her. He tells her that she is one of the smartest students but needs to be more relaxed and not scared all the time. He challenges her to do something scary over the break. The scene shifts to Jason talking on his phone, making a business deal. His assistant informs him that someone sent him a package and he tells him to bring it to him, thinking it's a gift from a client. Meanwhile, Ben is working at the store when his boss comes in. Ben asks for a promotion, but his boss refuses, saying he needs to stop drinking if he wants to improve. At Jason's office, his assistant brings him a gift in the form of a black box, but he doesn't know how to open it. Meanwhile, Zoe is talking to her roommate, who tells her that she is a nerd and needs to enjoy life more. Zoe, who struggles with anxiety, tries to calm down when her mirror starts shaking like an earthquake, but it turns out to be just a nightmare. Her roommate is ready to leave for a holiday and finds a box labeled with Zoe's name. It's the same black box that Jason received. Ben also gets one of the boxes and tries to open it with a hammer, even throwing it across the room. One piece shifts, prompting him to continue searching for a solution. Meanwhile, Zoe opens her box easily, while Jason watches a YouTube tutorial. All 3 manage to open their boxes, and a piece of paper comes out. It's an invitation to the challenge escape room, and the one who escapes will win $10,000. The next day, Ben is outside the building where the challenge will take place. He's smoking a cigarette when a car parks behind him. A girl named Amanda gets out of her car, enters the building, and gives the guard her ID and phone. The guard thanks her for her service in the army, and she heads to the elevator. Another guy, Danny, gets in with her and tells her he managed to sneak in his phone. Upon entering the room, Jason and Zoe are already there, along with Mike. Amanda knocks on the reception window, and they instruct her not to disturb. Everyone starts introducing themselves and exchanging personal information. Ben arrives last and greets everyone. Danny mentions that he has been in 93 escape rooms before, and Jason teases him about it. Mike shares that his nephew suggested he try an escape room, while Amanda is just there for the money. Danny begins explaining how these things usually work, and Zoe asks when the game will start. He tells them that a game master will come to take them to the escape room. Ben heads outside to smoke another cigarette, but the doorknob breaks off. Mike comes over to try to fix it, but Danny tells them that the game has probably already started, and that this is the room they need to escape. He approaches the door and sees that it likely requires a combination to unlock. Everyone begins looking for clues. Mike finds a book titled Fahrenheit 451 with a screwdriver inside. Zoe thinks that 451 is the combination to unlock the door and tries it, but this only makes matters worse as the room starts to overheat. Amanda tries asking the receptionist for help, but no one answers. Ben wants to break the window with a fire extinguisher, but realizes it's fake. The room keeps getting hotter and hotter. Luckily, Zoe finds a key inside the fire extinguisher. They open a window and discover that there is nothing in there but a doll. Suddenly, the phone starts ringing, and Jason picks it up. An AI voice informs him that they need to follow the rules. Upon hanging up the phone, the room becomes sealed, and the heat starts to rise even more. Amanda begins having a panic attack, and the burns on her back provide a clue as to why. The men start to panic as well, and Zoe notices a sign giving clues about the coasters on the table. After she presses one, an exit appears, but it's not fully open. The whole team presses one of the coasters, and the exit opens completely. Jason goes first and finds a way out, but he needs the screwdriver that Mike found. Amanda takes his coaster so Mike can deliver the screwdriver. Jason opens the hatch, and Amanda goes next, while everyone else holds the coasters with both hands. Zoe gets an idea on how they can all go through. While Ben and Danny hold coasters in Spider-Man position, she fills a glass with water, places it on the coaster, and it works. While Amanda crawls into a claustrophobic vent, she has a panic attack and experiences flashbacks from her time in Afghanistan. Zoe hears Amanda screaming and goes after her, while Danny and Ben fill the glasses with water. They are half a glass short, and as they panic and argue, flamethrowers descend from the ceiling. Ben pours his liquor into the glass, making it heavy enough to open the exit. They escape just in time as the room explodes, and they emerge from the fireplace into the next room. Danny is excited, thinking it's just a game, while Amanda freaks out at him and insists that they need to get out. Meanwhile, Jason is struggling with another lock. Amanda wants to call the police, but Danny convinces her it's just a game and still hands her his phone, only to find there is no signal. Jason eventually finds a key and opens one lock on the door, but there's another one that requires a 7-letter word to unlock. As everyone tries a bunch of different words, Ben gazes at the deer skulls on the wall and experiences a flashback of driving drunk with his friends while singing Christmas songs. He then suggests trying the word Rudolph, and it works. They enter another room that looks like it's outside, and it's freezing cold. Danny starts exploring and accidentally hits his head against an invisible wall. The ice beneath him starts cracking as he falls, and this clueless guy continues hitting it, still convinced it's a safe game. Vents open, and freezing air rushes out, prompting the team to search for clues again. Jason finds a door, but it's locked, while Zoe discovers a plank with the phrase, "True North is a lie." This useless guy tries to light a cigarette, and Amanda finds a coat, which she gives to Zoe, while Ben falls into a hole in the ice. And Danny thinks that there might be some clues in the hole. Mike has found a fishing rod, and they start fishing for clues while Zoe finds a compass in the coat's pocket. She starts following the north, but remembers the phrase she read on the plank and goes in the opposite direction, finding a piece of magnet in the mouth of a stuffed bear. They attach it to the fishing rod. Jason asks Zoe for the coat. "Really, dude? Be a man." Meanwhile, Mike has caught a frozen cube with the key inside. Jason tells Ben to give them a lighter, but he just throws it, being useless again. Danny goes to pick it up, and the ice breaks beneath his feet. Everyone tries to break the ice, but it's too thick and he drowns. Danny, who thought this was a game all along, now probably thinks he'll respawn. Spoiler alert, he won't. Jason gives Amanda his coat. He probably heard me. They all start blaming Ben for Danny's death and say that he is the game master. He instantly throws back insults, but Jason stops him, saying that survival is now more important and that they should probably melt the cube with body heat. As he slowly melts the cube, he has a flashback of himself freezing on a boat with his friend wearing a red coat. Mike faints from the cold, but they manage to melt the cube and get the key out. While unlocking the door, another door opens behind them. They all rush towards the door while the ice is breaking beneath them, and they jump in at the last second. The room they encounter next is a bar similar to my life. Everything is upside down. The room starts shaking, and when it finally stops, the phone rings. Mike picks up and there is loud noise as music starts playing. They notice a door to another room, but there is no doorknob. While Mike is looking at the pool table, he notices that the black ball is missing. He starts searching for clues when Ben saves him from certain death as a piece of the floor falls off. Amanda climbs to the bar and discovers a safe with a 4-digit pin, while Zoe sees a puzzle and Mike helps her reach it. She starts solving the puzzle, and suddenly another part of the floor falls off, and Jason barely survives. Ben jumps over to them, and Zoe finally solves the puzzle, discovering the 4-digit code, but it doesn't work when Amanda inputs it. As the floor continues to fall apart, Ben and Mike grab onto the puzzle, but they are too heavy, and Zoe falls down, hitting her head. They all ask if she is okay while she has a flashback of an airplane accident she experienced with her mother. Jason wakes her up and helps her climb the wall before the floor breaks down again. Zoe tells Amanda to try the code in reverse, and it actually works. The doorknob was inside, but the floor breaks down again. Amanda tries crossing to them on the pool table, but she drops the doorknob on the last part of the floor. She immediately jumps down to catch it and throws it to Jason, grabbing onto the phone cable at the last second, successfully surviving. Just kidding. Sorry guys, gotta put some humor into this dark world we live in. Jason enters the door with Mike, while Ben drags Zoe into another room, trying to calm her. The next room has hospital appearance. Upon researching the room, they realize that the beds look familiar. All of them were in one of those beds when they were in the hospital. Zoe checks one of the beds, and it was Amanda's. She survived an explosion in the military. Zoe shares that she survived a plane crash, while Jason was the survivor of a boating accident. His friend lost his mind because of hypothermia and attacked him, then tried to swim off. Ben also shares that he was the only one surviving the car crash, and Mike was the sole survivor of a mining accident. He has a flashback of the mine, recalling that his brother died that day. Zoe finds Danny's file, and he was the only survivor as well. It's all connected. They were brought here to see who is the luckiest of the lucky. Suddenly, the TV turns on and starts counting down. They search for clues and find X-rays, which Ben immediately figures out are actually a sign language that says EKG. Zoe breaks down the cameras just in case someone is watching them. Jason sees a tank full of poisoned gas, revealing what will happen after the countdown. They take the EKG machine, and Ben thinks that the right heartbeat might open the door, but it doesn't work. So they try Mike's, but his heart rate is not high enough. Jason tries to shock him and ends up killing him. Really, dude, no words for you, my guy. Ben tries to revive him when suddenly poison starts filling the room. The killer, whom I will hate till the end of the movie, attaches the EKG to himself and tries calming his heart rate low enough. and the door opens. Jason rushes inside, and Ben tells Zoe to hurry, but she doesn't want to go. Ben follows Jason, and the door closes. Zoe is suffocating and crawling toward an oxygen mask, but passes out. While Ben and Jason are arguing, Ben accuses him of being a murderer. Not only did he kill Mike, but he also killed his friend on the boat. Jason tells him that it's survival of the fittest, and continues looking for clues. They find a hatch and open it, but both of them suddenly begin to hallucinate. There was poison on the handle of the hatch, which signaled that they needed to find an antidote. After searching for a while, Ben finds the antidote, but there is only one dose. Jason immediately attacks him. During the fight, Jason hits his head and dies on the spot. Ben quickly injects himself with the antidote and jumps into the next room, which is the same room we saw at the beginning of the movie. In the meantime, the game staff walks into the hospital room and thinks there are two bodies. They find the oxygen mask hanging from the ceiling when suddenly Zoe hits them from behind, knocking them over. She takes the gun from one of them and leaves the room. While Ben is in the other room, he messes up the code and gets crushed by the walls. He somehow manages to get into the fireplace and leaves the room. The game master is there and informs him that he is the winner. While Ben throws insults at this nice man for no reason, the man explains the point of the game. Some of the most powerful people on the planet want excitement and entertainment with real stakes. The man gives Ben a cigarette and tells him he thought it was impossible for Ben to win. Then he tries to strangle him, but Ben stabs him with a piece of wood. When the monitor shows that Zoe and the man are still in play, she shows up shooting him. He immediately jumps on her, and just before he ends her life, Ben knocks him out with a glass bottle and puts a bullet in his head. Together, they walk out of this nightmare. I swear, Mr. Beast challenges will look like this in a couple of years. The next day, Ben is in the hospital with Zoe by his side. A detective calls Zoe to come with him and takes her to the building where they played the game, but there is nothing left. The detective doesn't believe her story, as there is zero evidence that they actually played the game. 6 months later, Ben and Zoe are having coffee. She presents him with the document she compiled about the rest of their group and how it's all made to look like they died in accidents. He tells her to let go and forget about the game, but she persists in elaborating on her discoveries. The logo put together is actually coordinates to a building in Manhattan, and she has already bought tickets for them to get there. Even though Ben doesn't like the plan, he tells her he will go with her. The scene shifts to a plane with one engine on fire. A stewardess is looking for a clue and finds it in a bag. The tool doesn't open the cockpit door but leads to another riddle. As the two stewards try to figure it out, a third one tells the passengers to brace for impact. The other two figure out the code and go inside the cockpit, only to find the pilots dead. The stewardess tries to pilot the plane, but it crashes. Suddenly, two people appear, and it becomes obvious that the plane accident was a simulation. A disembodied voice tells one of the people from the simulation that Zoe's and Ben's tickets were intercepted, and that the game continues, and that's where the film ends. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video. Thanks for watching.